Hi, I'm here to talk about why building features won't solve your customer problems and what to do instead. This is based on me stumbling from one mistake to the other as a B2B SaaS product manager at Twilio and the learnings and lessons I learned along the way. And the stumbling is kind of why I've used a imagery of somebody stumbling on a banana peel and falling down. Product teams build features for customers to use, but 80% of features are rarely or never used. One well-known example might be Google Wave, where there was a disconnect between Google trying to build some feature that customers want, customers not getting access to it or not discovering it at the right time for the right use case, the right way or right customer. Now, this is a well-known example, but it's not a perfect example. But a lot of launches which were not discovered, we don't even know about them. I'll here today talk about an example, a case study where I launched products. The things I did around it, I'll share about that, which helped reduce the support tickets by 40%. This was to increase the customer retention. Here you'll see a graph where I plotted the number of tickets per 1,000 active customers, which went down by 40% over the year. Where did this come from? Is because the go-to-market teams, sales, customer success teams, sales and support teams mentioned that they were spending a huge amount of time resolving billing issues from customers. For a customer success team said 40% of their non-core time went just in answering billing questions and confusions from customers. That wasn't a great customer experience or a go-to-market experience for Twilio and Twilio customers. Now, before we get more into feature launches and what makes them succeed versus fail, where does this content and where do I come from? I did my engineering, electrical engineering from IIT in India, and worked as an engineer at Qualcomm and Broadcom before moving to California for my MBA at UCLA. Around this time, I also moved to product management and had experiences at Cisco, Telesign, Synergy, and joined as a product manager at Twilio in San Francisco when there were around 800 people. They grew from around 800 to 8,000 people, so 10x when I was there, and that really gave me a lot of opportunities to work on projects to improve customer acquisition or retention. After that, 2 years ago, I quit my full-time job and started my marketing, strategy consulting, and product-led growth consulting business, Spark Creative Technologies. Next month, I joined as the first product manager to a seed stage startup, Flex AI. This experience is mainly based on my work at Twilio, but I have realized more about the parts to emphasize based on my work with businesses as a consultant. Now, we can launch features to reduce dissatisfaction of customers. But where was the dissatisfaction? It was because there were thousands of support requests coming from our customers every month. And these support requests were not even about the technology, the product. It was not about features or bugs, but it was about the billing of the product. That didn't make sense. So customers were dissatisfied and a lot of time of go-to-market team was spent answering these questions. So my team and I thought, let's ask for the problems they face. So let's ask the support team and customer success team. So in the week one, they came up with 3 problems. And they said these are the 3 most important problems that if you solve, our life will be better. So my team and I started setting up a weekly prioritizing schedule where we can align these problems with our backlog and or roadmap. But next week, the team came up with 4 new problems. This was confusing because do we solve the earlier 3 problems or the next 4 problems? Now we are already facing 7 problems and we don't even know what's the most important thing to prioritize. So instead, I thought, let's look at the data to prioritize. But that didn't work either because most of the tickets by the customer support team were tagged as one big, huge, broad category called billing WTF. That didn't help. And that just also showed the bad experience that customers had and the confusions that support team had, that they just lumped everything as billing WTF. So instead, my colleagues and I reviewed and tagged 1,300 email threads one by one. But we ran into around 140 different issues. We can't solve that many issues. So what do? This is a long tail problem and there are too many problems to solve of customers. So I thought let's create categories to make it easy to group these issues so we can identify a few in the biggest category to solve. Using this, I created 4 categories, category A, B, C, and D. And in each of these categories, I created 2 to 6 subcategories. Now this on one hand made it easy for product managers to review what are the most like painful issues or most common issues, but it also made it possible for customer success or support team to just think about 4 categories at once. Is it payment related, billing, invoicing, or something else? And if it's one of those, then what subcategory does it belong to? So it helped that way. Now, instead of manually tagging thousands of tickets every month, we had enabled the support and success team to tag tickets in a more reasonable manner. This is more categories than just one billing WTF, but fewer than 140. And this gives us some insights. But how do we see those insights? For this, I needed to build a dashboard, the cliche dashboard, but I needed to think through the stakeholder needs. C-level was interested in this. So customer success support would want to look at this, and product managers would want to look at this to make decisions. So I used the Minto pyramid, where at the top of the dashboard, we highlight the conclusion, the big takeaway, which is number of support tickets per 1,000 active customers. I support that with key arguments, which can be used not just by the E-team, but this will more so be used by vice presidents or directors in product management, billing platforms, support, customer success, or sales. And then I back it up by the actionable detailed information, which can be used by individual product managers for their product teams and support or sales teams or customer success teams. So the dashboard looked somewhat like this, with one big picture and information for the E-team to look at, and then supporting information which gradually increased in depth of information. Now that we have the metrics, next question is, how would you prioritize? Now, in a live version of this talk, I discuss with the audience and spend time to discuss with them that apart from percentage tickets in engineering efforts, how can you prioritize these issues and share ideas and discuss this. For now, let me summarize by saying that the way I prioritized was not just percentage of tickets and engineering effort, but also looking at problems which could be solved without the engineering need. For example, by working with marketing or technical writers or support or sales team, changing processes, or product managers doing something. I also looked at initiatives which can be combined with existing roadmap items, which make it possible for us to include this in our annual plan. And to do all of this, to get all of the data, to make these decisions, I have a 3-step customer research framework. I start with a lot of data, but very little why, which is a lot of quantitative data. For example, SQL queries or Google Analytics or Heap Analytics, Mixed Panel, Amplitude, which tell me how many customers are coming to different features of your product, or how many customers are in US versus Canada versus some other country. So it's giving me information of 600,000 plus customers at a time. Very little insight into why customers are doing what they do. I supplement this with qualitative anecdotes, which are, for example, 1,000 support tickets, or maybe 50 or 100 survey responses from customers. And I back this up further with empathy I can build from conversations with customers by doing 5 to 15 interviews. And that's a good enough number where you get a mental model of how the customer thinks. Using this, one of the first features that one of our teams launched was a self-service feature. I worked with them during this launch, where this self-service feature addressed a common pain point that customers had, where they could not update their payment details like address, billing address, or billing email, or purchase order number online, and instead needed to email our support team. So I worked with the team, and this feature was live. And what to do after the launch? We thought, well, it's a good product, right? So it doesn't need documentation, does it? And anyway, why disturb support? This is a product which is used by customers. It's not a product to be used by support team. Anyway, they'll have fewer tickets. Why disturb them about something that's not actionable by them? But we were left wondering, did the launch succeed? I decided to review the metrics after the feature launch. I saw that over the weeks, we had identified the problem, we had launched the product, but there was still no drop in the number of tickets for this problem in that dashboard we saw earlier. That was really confusing. Why is the numbers not dropping? And it's not like we didn't follow a process. We did follow a process. We developed something, made it publicly available. Yeah, there were bugs, it was unreliable, but eventually it was dependable, right? And we'll get there. So, we didn't see a problem in this at that point. But I realized, well, we didn't announce the change. So let's announce the change. I announced it by using a banner at the top of the web portal or dashboard, where if customers come to the billing page, we tell them, hey, if you want to update your billing settings, go here. I also added a change log, which was a new capability that Twilio was using at that time, to announce that now customers, you can update your billing information on your own at this place. I also realized a lot of customers might be accessing this through the invoice, so I added a link in the invoice to redirect them to the feature page. Next, my point was, well, how do I find some early indicators, because reduction in support tickets might take a while. So first, if I have launched, that's one good thing. Second, if I have a FAQ page, frequently asked questions about this feature, are there any views from customers on it? Third, how many customers are getting redirected by support team to this feature versus support team addressing their questions one by one? Fourth, how many page views are there for this new feature that I've built? Fifth, this feature, is it using the backend? Is it connecting to the database, API usage of that feature? And lastly, I'll eventually hope to see some reduction in the support tickets. So I reviewed some leading indicators, for example, the API usage per week, by using Google BigQuery with the engineers, front-end engineers. And I saw that there was some increase in the usage from when we launched the feature, when it was zero usage, to the time when we decided, we need to announce the feature. And there was some further increase in the usage when we announced the feature. But it did seem good enough to me. So I started reviewing how do customers use our email or invoices, and that's where I found a gem. A lot of our customers get monthly invoice emails. When they get those emails, they see the emails sent to them, the number of customers who opened those emails, and I saw that a few of those emails were opened at least once, and many of the customers clicked on links in the emails. But what was the gem was a lot of customers were repeatedly opening the emails. This was a gem that I wanted to use to understand the customer behavior. So this told me that the invoice or the invoice email is really crucial. I already knew from the support tickets that redesigning the invoice could help highlight the most relevant information to customers, because customers were getting lost in the information we provided. So I did a similar redesign exercise with our product designer to highlight just the one number. How much do you need to pay? That's the most important thing that will address 90% customers' need from an invoice. But from other customers, gradually added more information like summary page, special insights, and detail section. What I did additionally was adding links for the FAQs at different pages, and making it in such a way that each of these links was slightly different so that I can track the usage of PDFs. And if you think about it, once you send a document to somebody, it's very hard to know which page of the document are they opening. Well, this helped me do that. So we now know how users find features. And I could also get this more in a data format by using Google Analytics and Zendesk information, which told me that a lot of customers find us through the web portal, the top panel. But every end of the month, there's a surge in the number of users who find us through the email, which has the invoice. So now I know how customers may find their features. I want to help them discover the features even more. So I worked with the Zendesk and support ops team to add a little bit of friction counterintuitively in the customer's journey to create a support ticket. Instead of directly submitting a ticket to the support team, they instead now would search for their question and get some related answers. I'm sure you have seen this in a lot of websites, right? Same thing. I'm implementing the same thing a few years ago and seeing how that can help. But I realized that a lot of customers were actually talking to our sales and customer success teams, and those teams didn't know about these features. So I created some marketing collateral and did a roadshow where I talked about the continued investment that Twilio is doing in our platform to improve the customer experience. And these launches I shared about this roadshow with our success and sales teams, but also enabled them to showcase this to their customer contacts. So now we talked about how there was a launch process. I launched some features like the invoice redesign or the self-service page, and there were other launches I did. But I also am now sharing about the changes in the launch process, and you might have seen it from the examples, where instead of going from just development to publicly available, I went from development dog fooding, researching something internally, and then like doing the edits, announcing the support thing, training support team, and eventually launching it at a time when we are confident we can support this product for all our customers. Now you can see the impact of the changes in process and the work done to understand customer discovery, that we could reduce the number of support tickets by customers by 40% over the year, normalized tickets, which helped increase customer retention. And this was done not just by building features, but by doing a lot of other things around it. And sometimes not building features, but rather just working on the discovery of features.